Hey guys, Dean here from Waltz Up. We out for wealth is to trade, invest and prosper. I trust that you all had a good weekend and that you are ready for the week ahead. Now I know that this weekend for me has been very interesting because I was fortunate enough to have a very interesting conversation with my barber, and as we were talking, he mentioned that he has just sold a large portion of his ownership of the franchise to his business partner, and he only maintains 4 shops now. So that is, those shops are belonging to him in a sense. And as we were talking, I asked him how he got started, what was the process that he followed, and was he scared? And he responded to me with a very interesting response, and it's a response that I think I will carry with me forward, because it allowed me to realize that fear within and of itself is an illusion of your own mind that's formulated of potential outcomes that has not or may not even come to fruition. And if we live in that frame of mind, if we live according to that framework, then fear ultimately not only controls your life, but it limits you from being able to attain so much within this life. And he said to me that I started this company and I was scared, but what would I leave behind for my family if I didn't? And that was a very interesting question, because he didn't know if he was going to succeed. He didn't know he was going to have multiple shops and grow the business to a point where he can sell a large portion of it to his business partner and be able to sustain his lifestyle only having 4 shops. And this framework, this way of thinking, allowed him to not only overcome his fear but conquer it, in a sense that first of all he had to face it. He had to acknowledge that if he fails, he doesn't lose anything. Ultimately, he just has to use that failure as an opportunity to learn whatever it is that he needed to learn in order for him to strengthen the business. And if he was to be successful, then obviously the template that he's using to grow this business is working, and all he needs to do is refine it as his business evolves. And so the point that he was trying to make was that, why are we scared? What are we scared about? Because ultimately, no matter what we build here on this earth, in this life, we can take none of it with us into the next. And the reality of the situation is that when you start thinking in those lines, when you start thinking with that framework, what you ultimately do to yourself is you give yourself the permission to actually give it a shot. You actually give yourself the permission to take a chance and explore the idea that you had initially when you are wanting to potentially start your own business or pursue another career, or give this particular skill a shot, a fair shot I should say, and see where it goes. And so if you are watching this video and you are sitting there and you know that you are worth more, you can do more, you have the capacity to actually build whatever company it is you want to build and do whatever it is you want to do, and you know that within your heart, if I can put it that way, that this is what you're designed for, then I want to tell you that you need to give it a shot, because you have one life. You only live once, and failure within that particular avenue is not the end of the road. Failure is not an excuse to stop trying. Failure is just an indication that whatever you're doing needs to be changed or refined, and it's an opportunity for you to learn and to grow. And so when we shift our perspective, when we review failure from a different point of view, then it's actually a tool that we need to use to amplify our skill set, our resources, and ultimately use it as an opportunity to grow. There's an interesting story that I heard some time back, and it was of this girl that was unable to feel pain. And because she was unable to feel pain, a lot of people from the outside looked at this as a phenomenal superpower. But her parents feared every single day of her life, because If she was to fall and break her arm, she wouldn't know. And ultimately, that broken bone could become infected. And that infection could lead to amputation. And amputation could lead to a whole different life for her. If she was sick and she wasn't able to communicate because she herself doesn't know that she's sick, then ultimately whatever sickness she has will not be treated, and the full effects of that illness will ultimately take effect. And so what we see in this instance is that pain is actually a signal. Pain is a warning. Pain is something that our body allows us to feel to tell us that something is wrong. And fear is something that is formulated in our mind, and the fear of failure within and of itself, is simply just an indication that something needs to change, something needs to be tweaked or refined. And if we can view failure from that perspective, then we have no choice but to grow. We have no choice but to move forward. And so if it is that you want to start this company that you are so passionate about, you want to break into this industry that you are so passionate about, then you need to give it a shot. And if you're waiting for the perfect time, let me tell you, from one that has had absolutely no exposure to what it is to start an online business with absolutely no money and no mentorship resources. All I had was an idea, and I then had to go and find the answers to the questions that I had, and solutions to problems that I faced. And so what you'll find is that when you become committed enough, you develop the ability to become extremely resourceful and extremely committed. And when you have those qualities within inside of you, then the goal is not a question of if you will achieve it. It's just a matter of when you will achieve it. Only because regardless of the obstacles that you're facing, you are overcoming milestone after milestone, challenge after challenge. And while you're doing all of those things, you're becoming better and better at doing what you do. So guys, I would encourage you, just make a start. Just take the step, the one or the first step forward. And if you need help, seek it, ask, read books, listen to people that have walked the journey that you're walking, and ultimately use that as a form of a template that you can to some degree follow, and ultimately create your own template. So this message this morning has nothing to do with trading. It has nothing to do with success or financial liberation, if you want to call it that. It has everything to do with you. It has everything to do with the purpose that you have within inside of you, and the calling that you have in your life. And if you are not walking in line with that, then you are living an unfulfilled, uninspired life. And the question you have to ask yourself is, how can you serve your fellow man living that way? So I'm going to leave you with that question, and I trust that this will be a message that will inspire you to take that first step. Explore the idea and start finding the answers to the questions that you're asking. For the most part, I hope that you have an awesome day. Have a brilliant week, and I look forward to chatting to you all soon. Up until then, keep well, and bye for now.